A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luima, but first are the headlines. African civil society organizations boycott UN food conference. Ministry of Transport confirms the construction of a long-delayed standard gauge railway. Kabila brother impeached as DR Congo governor. And in sports, Museveni First Lady bid farewell to Cranes Onyango with a brand new car. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. A total of 36 civil society organizations in Uganda and across Africa under the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa have cancelled their participation in the United Nations Food Systems Summit scheduled for September 2021 in New York, USA. We have more. In their May 3rd letter, a copy of which TV Africa has seen, which was addressed to Dr. Agnes Kalibata, the UN Special Envoy for the summit, AFSA stressed that the summit ignores its sole agenda and that it erodes the hope for an inclusive and democratic summit on food transformation. In their letter, they expressed concern on the current rushed, corporate-controlled, unaccountable and opaque process for this summit will not lead the transformation of sustainable and healthy food systems. They further pointed out that the UN, through the summit, was emphasizing agricultural industrialization, a key contributor to global warming, instead of agroecology. The CSOs conditioned that a transition to agroecology should be central to any outcomes of the summit based on the 13 principles of agroecology outlined in high-level panel of experts for food security and nutrition report of agroecology if they are to attend. The CSOs argued Africa remains essentially a continent of smallholder food producers. Solutions will only work if they can work for millions of farmers, pastoralists, and indigenous communities, custodians of nature, as well as women and youths in the food system. The CSOs included Friends of the Earth Africa Uganda, African Center for Biodiversity, Eastern and Southern Africa Pastoralists Network, World Neighbors, Tanzania Alliance for Biodiversity, Sicodev Africa, ProPac, among others. Mr. Hakim Railline, the chairperson of Eastern and Southern Africa Small-Scale Farmers Forum Uganda, said the interest of the convener of the summit was not clear, prompting them to withdraw. According to them, large-scale agriculture also requires major investments in the form of machinery, grains and seeds, meaning that poorer farmers in many African countries are excluded from the advantages of intensive agriculture. The Ministry of Works and Transport has revealed that all plans are done to kick off the construction of the standard gauge railway that will ease transportation of goods and services throughout the East African region. Our reporter Nalugo has more.
The 1,435mm rail line is intended to ease the transfer of goods between the port of Mombasa and the city of Kampala, and subsequently to Kigali in Rwanda, and to Beni in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and to Nimule and Juba in South Sudan. Goods would travel from Mombasa along the Kenya Standard Gauge Railway to Malaba at the border with Uganda and transfer onto this rail system. The construction is expected to be financed by the government of Uganda using borrowed money from the Exim Bank of China. However, the loan cannot be approved by the lender until Kenya finalizes the funding arrangement for the Naivasha-Kisumu-Malaba section of its standard gauge railway. While presenting a report on their performance in the implementation of the NRM manifesto, Minister of Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, said preparations are underway and only waiting for the government of Kenya to start the construction of the railway.
nga butumaliriza ki ebiriwo kati naye nga Kenya tegamba nga tegenda kukola standard gauge tegenda gituusa mala akati ffe tetulina okukola kwetegeka kulaba nti bagendera Uganda eri batandika kubanga twagala tukita synchronization tibagenda okutandika okukola okuva Naivasha ogende Kisumu oba okuva Kisumu kujja Malaba nga naffe tutandika tibwegendera eyabo wegendera okutuuka e Malaba nga nayaffe ekoze eki etandise kati bwe tulaba tetunasasula abantu bonna abali mu gye tuyita right of way bwe tuba tetunaba kumaliriza byonna ebyetagisa tuyinza kugamba nti tuli ready kubanga enkya ne Kenya ne bweneegireeta nekyusa e Malaba ffe nga tetuli ready ekiraba kitugasaaki.
The ministry also revealed that preparations are underway to start tolling Entebbe Expressway by July 2021, and there will be sensitization of masses on how to go about this.
We initially went in for a tolling policy, and in 2019, Cabinet approved the tolling policy. But as we are going to implement, we sought advice from the Solicitor General.
Tuli mu process eyo tugenda oluguudo okubeera lwa toll tulina okusooka oluteeka mu gazeti kati gazeti ejja kufulumya mangu gye bujja nti oluguudo lw'Entebbe lugenda kubeera lwa toll lwakugyaku musolo kati bweneemala binaaba bifulumye then tulina okusomesa abantu onoosasula otya osasula mmeka sente mmeka bwe mba ne loole nsasula mmeka bwe nti nosasula mmeka nsobola okusasula buli mwezi nsobola okusasula buli wiiki nsobola okusasula buli lwempitawo ebyo byonna byakuteeka mu kusomesa abantu okukozesa oluguudo.
Among the achievements that the ministry registered is the rehabilitation of Port Bell from Mwanza to Kampala, transfer of driving licenses from First Technology to Uganda Security Printing Company, construction of security search parks at Entebbe International Airport, acquiring of training certificates, and managed to graduate 73 pilots at the East Africa Civil Aviation Academy at Soroti.
Construction of the security search park, phase 1 was done. What is waiting now is to install the security equipment to be able to screen properly the travelers. In future, we intend not to have travelers getting out of the vehicles to be searched, body search. Everything will be by computer. As you drive into the search park, you'll just know what you have and what you don't have, and then you drive ahead at your departure launch. Develop and upgrade these aerodromes. We have not been able to do all of them, but we have made substantial improvement on some of them.
Although the ministry managed to score 80% of its commitments of the manifesto, inadequate funds was a challenge, which explains the poor state of some roads in the country. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Moving on, court yesterday was astonished after a businessman accused of producing substandard plastic bags escaped from the court before taking plea. David Michael Chalo, the managing director of Mwambao Company Limited, is facing charges of manufacturing for sale commodities that do not conform to compulsory standard specifications, contrary to UNBS Act 2013 as amended. During a Uganda Road Court session presided over by Magistrate Marion Mangeni, the prosecutor told the court that the accused, Charo, a Kenyan national who was expected to be in the court holding cells, had disappeared. The police officer, Detective Sergeant Charles Izama, who had escorted Chalo from police to court, weighed in, asserting that he left the suspects in the hands of his lawyer, Mr. Mark Cecile, as he needed to receive instructions. Mr. Izama told the court that Mr. Cecile should brief the court on the whereabouts of his client. The defense lawyer, Mr. Cecile, in his submission, told the court that he briefed the suspects in the wife's presence about the nature of charges against him, and they agreed to meet in the afternoon after Cecile left to print some documents. Mr. Cecile pleaded with the court to give him 2 days to produce the suspects. In reply, Magistrate Mangeni issued criminal summons against Chalo and allowed the defense lawyer until May 7th to produce the suspects in court. Away from that, on 27th May 2021, Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the World International AIDS Candlelight Memorial Day. This has been announced by the Minister for Presidency, Esther Mbayo, at Media Center Kampala, and cautioned the employers to encourage people living with HIV/AIDS and also apply for jobs and be treated equally. Kachanchu has more.
Speaking to journalists at the Uganda Media Center today, 7th May 2021, the Minister for Presidency, Honorable Mbayo, said the day will be celebrated on 27th this month on a theme HIV stigma-free at workplaces in Uganda, a journey towards ending HIV 2030 as a sign of solidarity with those who lost their dear ones to AIDS. The minister further urged employers in both formal and informal sectors to encourage people who are HIV positive to apply for jobs and provide them with career advancement opportunities to fulfill their potential, since they are also as productive as those without HIV. The minister also revealed that health workers leak their patients' HIV status, leading to their discrimination in communities, and urged health workers to work ethically and keep their patients' HIV status confidential. TV Africa News, Kachanchu Mtavazi reporting.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Residents of Gulu, a city in northern Uganda and hometown of Dominic Ongwen, have greeted the news of the former child soldier's sentencing by the International Criminal Court, ICC, with mixed reactions. Dominic Ongwen, a Ugandan child soldier of the notorious Lord's Resistance Army, was on Thursday sentenced to 25 years in jail for war crimes and crimes against humanity by the ICC.
After his sentence, Jonathan Bagonza, a businessman in Kampala, sympathized with Ongwen on grounds that the sentence given to him was too much, yet he was only recruited in the LRA by Joseph Kony while he was still young. Flavia Lacote, a Ugandan who works with child protection, said that Ongwen should be brought back home and serve his sentence in Uganda. The LRA was founded 3 decades ago by former Catholic altar boy and self-styled prophet Kony, who launched a bloody rebellion in northern Uganda against President Yoweri Museveni. Joseph Kony's brutal campaign to set up a state based on the Bible's 10 Commandments left more than 100,000 people dead and 60,000 children abducted, eventually spreading to Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic. Ongwen, 45, was found guilty in February of 61 charges, including murders, rapes, and sexual enslavement during a reign of terror in the early 2000s by the LRA led by the fugitive Joseph Kony.
The officials of Tanganyika province in the Democratic Republic of Congo have impeached Governor Zoe Kabila, a younger of former President Joseph Kabila, who is accused of mismanagement and incompetence. Let's take a look.
The impeachment motion was supported by the officials, allied to President Felix Tshisekedi, as the rift between him and Mr. Kabila widens. Officials of Mr. Kabila's camp boycotted the session. According to reports from DRC, Zoe Kabila was the only one among the 26 governors who did not sign President Tshisekedi's Act of the Sacred Union membership that was formed to ensure progressive governance. President Tshisekedi ended his coalition with Mr. Kabila's party, which had a majority in parliament following years of increasing tension.
The United Nations announced on Thursday that it has released $65 million for humanitarian aid in Ethiopia, including $40 million for the Tigray region, where a military operation launched in November has escalated into a war.
The United Nations Humanitarian Office said that the remaining $25 million will fund aid operations in the rest of Ethiopia, including in the response to drought in the Somali and Oromia regions. It said that funds will be used to treat children with severe acute malnutrition, rehabilitate water systems, and supply water to drought-affected communities, and to preposition humanitarian supplies. The humanitarian office known as OCHA said the $40 million for Tigray will fund the emergency shelter, clean water, health care, prevention efforts, and response to sexual and gender-based violence, and emergency telecommunications to support the humanitarian response. Last week, OCHA said a United Nations humanitarian convoy managed to reach Samray town, where it delivered emergency food and nutrition supplies and organized a mobile health clinic in Samray Hospital.
A popular mixed martial arts fighter who joined anti-coup protests in Myanmar has been wounded by a homemade bomb and later arrested following an alleged blast as the military government struggles to assert control of the country amid a mounting death toll and defiant protests. Let's take a look.
The military's Myanmar TV reported on Thursday that the mixed martial arts fighter Fawitho, who is 36, was arrested in hospital while receiving treatment for leg wounds sustained while allegedly testing a homemade bomb late on Wednesday at Yangwon Gym. Security forces claimed to have found bomb-making materials, arms and ammunition when they searched the gym. Fawitho is well known in Myanmar and was caught on camera during the protests holding a sign that challenged coup leaders Min Aung Hlaing to a cage fight. Small blasts are becoming more frequent in towns and cities in Myanmar, some at government or military buildings, which the coup leaders say are proof of a violent rebellion by supporters of Aung San Suu Kyi's overthrown government.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, Somalia on Thursday announced the restoration of diplomatic relations with Kenya after mediation by Qatar, which had gone sour in December 15th, 2020, after accusing Nairobi of interference in its internal affairs. We have more.
According to the Somalia National News Agency, the two governments agreed to keep friendly relations between the two countries on the basis of principles of mutual respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, non-interference in each other's internal affairs, equality, mutual benefit, and peaceful coexistence. On Thursday, Kenya's presidency reported that Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta met with Qatar's envoy for counter-terrorism and mediation of conflict resolution, Dr. Mutlaq bin Majed Al Kahtan. Kahtan, who has been in the region since May 1st, was dispatched by Doha to help mediate Somalia's crisis, which has been made worse by a disagreement over elections. He met with Somaliland President Muse Bihi in Hargeisa before holding talks with Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo.
In our health news today, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has welcomed the support of the United States administration endorsement of a temporary and targeted waiver of intellectual property protections to COVID-19 vaccines.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said that a waiver on the COVID-19 vaccine patients is a victory for South Africa and a sign to show the influence they have as a country, working together with others. The Director for African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. John, said that the development will continue to build the momentum necessary to enable them achieve their health watchdog goal. Lifting patent protections on the vaccines will further help boost production and provide jabs into people's arms. Globally, 155 million cases of the virus have been confirmed. 3.24 million have died of the disease and 91.3 million people have recovered.
And in sports, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, together with his First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, have bid farewell to Dennis Onyango, the former Cranes captain and senior national team player, who announced his retirement from national team football.
In a ceremony held at State House in Entebbe, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that sportsmen are unlucky because their careers are short-lived, adding that at 35 years, a sportsman can still serve in the country for another 20 years if deployed in civil service or given bursaries to train in higher institutions of learning in a discipline of their choice. The president applauded Onyango and others in different sports disciplines for holding the country's flag high and noted that the government is in future considering empowering the sports industry in Uganda to be in a position to compete with other countries, more so in Europe. In her part, the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, who is also the current Education and Sports Minister, said Onyango has set a great example for many younger sportsmen countrywide. Onyango was accompanied by his mother and sister. Among other unknown accolades, the President and the First Lady gifted him a brand new Pajero Sport vehicle. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Now, before we end our news bulletin, let's take a recap of our top stories. African civil society organizations boycott UN food conference. Ministry of Transport confirms the construction of a long-delayed standard gauge railway. Kabila brother impeached as DR Congo governor. And in sports, Museveni First Lady bid farewell to Cranes Onyango with a brand new car. That was the news. Thank you for watching, and please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.